to start off by saying that it's a Friday night in Los Angeles and people have been screaming outside my building literally all night, so if you hear that, sorry. Anyway, I'm back again. I feel like I say that every time I start a video because I always disappear for like several months at a time. I'm not good at this whole YouTube thing, I'm really not. So as of when I'm filming this, it's like 11 o'clock at night, and I live alone, so I figure it's a great time to read some scary stories off of Reddit. I used to hate videos like this. I used to think they were really dumb because I was like, oh, why would you go like listen to someone read a story when you could just go read the story yourself? And now they're kind of all I watch because I like to multitask, and so I can listen to cool shit and do cool shit at the same time. Mainly, I've been watching C. Jades a lot. I was gonna say, like, I'll link her channel below, but like 6 people total are gonna watch this video, so like, why would I bother? I've been really obsessed with like, let's not meet stories because I think they're so interesting and I'm a paranoid bitch, so like, right up my alley. I'm paranoid as hell and I live alone, so why don't I just traumatize myself and read some scary stories? I like skimmed these before I chose them, but I don't actually know how any of them like end TM. So, hopefully this is, like, even a little bit entertaining, and if it's not, then I'll just never do this again. Literally, I hate living by myself. There's so many weird fucking noises, and I feel like you're not gonna be able to hear any of them, so it's just gonna be, like, me sitting here like a paranoid asshole the whole time. So without me, rambling anymore, I guess I'm just gonna dive right into the first story. I'm gonna be reading these stories off of my iPad, so I'm gonna be looking in this general direction, so enjoy my, profile. Hello, sweet baby. Little Miss Echo wanted to come say hi, and you're not gonna fuck with my hair in this video, right? This first story is by Reddit user... But boy, I swear to God. Okay, this first story that I'm gonna read is a pretty short one, and it's by Reddit user this person, because I'm not even gonna try to pronounce that. So this story is called Delivery Driver, Thankful to be Alive, which, I don't know if I've ever mentioned this, but the summer before I moved out to LA, so like, last summer, I delivered for Pizza Hut, so I feel like this is gonna trigger me. Previously, I wrote a post on Let's Not Meet about my creepy encounter as a pizza delivery driver to the basement. I was a pizza driver for 4 years, so needless to say, I've come across plenty of strange customers. Also, I'm a small female, so I don't come across very intimidating. Same. I wanted to share one more story. This encounter would be the reason why I quit my job as a pizza driver for good. Again, my shift was always from 6 p.m. to midnight because I had a day job. Late one night, I had a delivery to the same bad part of town. Usually, I am a lot more alert of my surroundings, but that night I wasn't because I was tired, it was very late, and the streets were quiet. I knew exactly where I was delivering to because he was a regular customer. So I'm driving on the way there, and I stop at a red light in the middle of a hill. As I'm waiting impatiently for it to turn green, I see a person walking about a block away in the direction of my car. It was dark, so it was hard to get a good description of what he looked like. I could just see movements. He stopped walking, lifted something up, and in very slow motion, I hear a very loud bang, and the window on my driver's side completely shatters all over me. Fuck no. Fuck no. Okay, so like a couple weeks back, you can't really see it, but there's that's like my bed frame, and behind it there's a window, and something happened to my window, and it like shattered, so me and my friend came home one night, and there was just glass all over my pillow and floor, and I was like, absolutely terrified, and it happened while I wasn't at home, so yeah, that was scary enough, but like being in your car and someone like shoots through your window, I hope you're okay. Then I see him run towards me fast. I stepped on the gas and sped off. I drove past my customer's house and stopped about a mile away. I called my boss and said I quit. I drove home shaking but thankful to be alive. My family is my witness to this because they took pictures of all the broken glass and helped me clean it out of my car the next day. To the maniac who shot at my car, let's not meet. I hope karma gets you. Wow, okay, so I know that was like really short. I guess I thought it was longer when I skimmed this, but that's so scary. I wonder why they shot at your car though. Like, was this just some like deranged fucking guy with a gun? This second story is a lot longer than that first one, and I just looked over that because I, you know, scrolled. And this one is called Madness on the Motorway by Reddit user Masochist. I'm gonna leave all of the links to these stories in the description of this video if you want to go like read them and not listen to my annoying fucking voice. One night late, about 1:30 a.m., I had left my boyfriend's house after a night of watching TV. My boyfriend lived in Birmingham and I lived in a neighboring area about 20 miles away, so I had to go on the motorway home. Always a lonely drive late at night, and I'm not a confident driver, so it wasn't something that I looked forward to. Literally same. Anytime I have to drive anywhere on the roads in Los Angeles at night, I'm like, fuck, I hate this so much. I had done this drive 3 times a week for at least a year, so it wasn't unusual for me though. I'd crank up the late night talk show on the radio, and the time would pass quickly and uneventfully, especially at that time of night when the roads were virtually empty. I pulled out of my boyfriend's estate, and yes, I admit it, I mistimed the turn and accidentally cut a black Porsche up with tinted windows who was traveling about 50 miles per hour. The Porsche had to brake and get into the next lane quickly to avoid a collision. I remember shouting shit as I knew it was my fault and hoped the driver wouldn't make an issue of it. I was wrong. We were in adjacent lanes, waiting for the lights to change, and suddenly his interior light came on. In the car was a young Asian male, aged about 25 years old. It immediately struck me that this guy was expensive looking. He was head to toe in designer gear and had a gold watch that glinted in the car light. He had a woman sitting next to him in the passenger seat, who I presumed to be his girlfriend or perhaps sister. She was also Asian, but her presentation was what alarmed me. She was also immaculately dressed, but had the most frightened look on her face I've ever seen. She was cringing, and her chin was virtually in her chest, and she was shaking. Oh, is she okay? She looked up for a split second and we stared at each other. I got the strong message from her that something bad was about to happen to me, because she's seen it before somehow and knows what's coming. There's absolutely no misunderstanding in her look. Okay, I'm like getting chills. Echo, your noises aren't helping! Then the guy jumped out of his car. I immediately locked my door. He saw me and didn't care. He advanced rapidly around his car, and what really disturbed me was he was rolling his right-hand shirt sleeve up and staring at me with the most menacing expression I'd ever seen. In that instant, I knew this was about to go further than him just ranting about me being a crap driver. I knew he was going to hurt me for real. Bitch, drive! Oh my god. That's like the scariest thing to me, because this is like late at night. Oh no, baby. I slammed the car into reverse, thank God no other cars were on the carriageway, and shot backwards just before he reached the front of my car. I shot back about 50 foot at 20 miles per hour, turned the wheel, and raced past him onto the dual carriageway, and away I went. I was absolutely petrified, but was praying that that was the end of it. I'd gotten away, and by the look on my face, he must have known he had actually scared me. Again, I was wrong. To my utter horror, I glanced into the rearview mirror, and he was back in his sports car and racing up the carriageway to catch up with me. No, I don't like it at all. My little car had no chance against his, and he was gaining with every second. Okay, literally, my car is like a shitty little Hyundai Accent that barely, like, goes fast at all. So, like, if that were me, I'd be fucked. To make matters worse, the carriageway was about 5 miles long in a straight run towards the motorway I needed to get on. At regular intervals, there were strictly enforced speed cameras and traffic lights to slow down the flow. In one way, this saved me, though. Both of us always slowed down to 60 miles per hour as we passed through each camera. The guy must have been local. As I was ahead, I always got back a precious few seconds as he had to slow down as he went by. By now, we were close to the motorway, and I was all over the place mentally. I was shaking and sweating. I didn't know what to do. I thought about just pulling over and having it out with him, but that girl's face was so strong in my mind. My gut instinct told me that that was the worst thing to do. Yeah, oh my god, don't stop. At least, like, I don't know, at least get to, like, a public place where you can, like, call for help instead of just, like, by yourself on the fucking highway. Who the fuck was this guy, and why wouldn't he leave me alone? What was he going to do after making all this effort? I started to panic about getting on the motorway, where there was even more of a lack of people than on the carriageway if he got hold of me somehow. We were approaching the final set of traffic lights before the motorway entrance. It was now or never. The road curved, so for a few seconds he lost sight of me. In that time, I slammed on my brakes to slow down my speed and turned off the carriageway onto a housing estate with a dead-end, car turnaround street. At about 1:45 a.m. in the morning, every house was in darkness. The street lamps were a pale yellow, but didn't penetrate the dark very well. I literally drove down the cul-de-sac and pulled right into some random person's house driveway and turned off all my lights. I got down onto the floor by the pedals and hid. I was shaking and panicking, not wanting the house owner to wake up, but also hoping they might, as this was getting ridiculous, and I was starting to wonder if the police shouldn't be informed. Okay, I would have called the police as soon as I realized he was, like, following me that close. Like, I wouldn't even risk it. I know that may sound dumb, and, like, I probably come across as really paranoid, but, like, better safe than sorry. Always better safe than sorry. Nothing happened for about 30 seconds, and then suddenly I saw 2 bright main beam lights circle the cul-de-sac slowly. I didn't lift my head up to check, but I knew it was him. Not one single car I had seen in 25 minutes, and now this, it had to be him. The lights circled twice, slowly. I just sat and waited for the inevitable and was preparing to scream when he found me, but nothing happened. The street went dark again, and I was still sitting whimpering by the pedals of my car. I would be crying. I would be absolutely on the floor crying. What seemed like years passed, but if it was 2 minutes, I'm being generous, before I scrambled out from under the steering wheel and back into my seat. I felt a bit better at this point, and kind of laughed anxiously to myself that these little ruses that I'd seen in the movies sometimes worked. But seriously, I just wanted to get home and prayed that was it. I was wrong. I pulled back onto the carriageway and was pleased to see that the road was empty again. I got back up to about 50 miles per hour and indicated out of habit to start to enter the entrance of the motorway when lights were picked up in my rearview mirror. At first, I immediately discounted it. No way it could be him. No way. And as he gained on me, I saw the familiar shape of the Porsche, the blackened out windows, the grille. He was back. Now, at this point, it's where panic really begins to set in. This wasn't a catch me if you can routine any longer. This was going to be significant if he got hold of me. No one takes that amount of time and trouble late at night to call someone a shit driver. And then there was that girl's face. I hadn't read her wrong. These actions now proved to me this had got to come to a head before it was over. I pulled onto the motorway, went into fifth gear, and the chase was on. I got in the fast lane and pushed my poor old car up to just under 100 miles per hour. The speed limit is 70 on that stretch, and I knew it. I prayed that the traffic police would see me on CCTV and send a car out, or someone would do something. Nothing happened. I'm going to be honest. I can't remember much of those 6 miles apart from being absolutely petrified. He stayed right behind me with his headlights right in my mirror, as a reminder he was still right there. I kept trying to concentrate on the road ahead as I was driving so fast. The journey seemed to speed by, the fields and pastures turned industrial, and I knew my exit was approaching. That's when it hit me. You are taking him to your house. What the fuck was I thinking? This guy had stalked me for about 14 miles and was showing no signs of stopping, and I was quite merrily showing him the way to my identity in life. I pulled off the motorway at the last possible second without indicating. Hopefully he would miss the exit and give up. That's pretty smart, actually. If he just had to keep going, there's no way he could have found you again. But nope, he made it. Lights shining the lot. Now it was a rerun of what had happened on the carriageway. Both of us speeding along, trying to slow down for the speed cameras. However, I had had enough at that point and started not slowing down and shooting red lights. As soon as I shot my first red light, so did he. Again, I realized this guy was serious, and it wasn't going to stop until he felt he had got justice for me cutting him up. I was about 2 miles away from my house and still speeding along at this point, trying to think of something to do. Then I saw my local gas station looming up ahead of me. It is one of those 24-hour ones, which are always manned. Most of the staff know me there, as I go in pretty much every day, as there's a mini supermarket attached. I swerved onto the forecourt of the gas station without indicating again. I didn't even try to park my car or secure my valuables. I skidded to a halt right outside the main doors, threw my car door open, and ran inside shouting, "There's a man following me, can you call the police?" To my disbelief, the guy had also swung into the forecourt. Why? And had jumped out of his car. I thought, here we go, I'm gonna have to fight him in here now, and looked around for something to grab to use as a weapon. One of the assistants who knew me by face said, "Who's following you?" I screamed, "Him," and pointed through the glass to the man starting to walk towards us with his sleeves rolled up. The cashier called the police immediately. She was standing in the window at her till watching him as she did it. And he could see her. He abruptly turned on his heel and got back in his car. As the light illuminated the interior, I saw the girl on the passenger side one last time. Her head was in her hands, and she was crouched over as if in extreme anxiety or pain. I presumed it was anxiety at that point. No way she was part of what happened. It must have been as frightening for her as it was for me. Poor girl. Who is this girl? I hope that she's okay. I wonder what their, relationship was. Is it his girlfriend or sister or, I don't know, but she must have been so scared. I feel like she was probably trying to get him to, stop, or she wouldn't be, that freaked out. Naturally, the police didn't help much. It all seemed a bit far-fetched for them, I think. They said they would review the CCTV and get back to me, but I never heard anything. So, crazy guy in your car on the carriageway in Birmingham, let's not meet ever again. Oh my god. Okay. So, driving at night is already so scary to me, and I also, again, I'm gonna sound so paranoid, but, I always feel like I'm getting followed. Literally always. If someone's behind my car and, happens to take one same turn as me, I always do that thing where you, take 4, lefts in a row or 4 rights in a row, and then if someone's still following you, then they're, actually following you. I literally always do that, and then no one's ever actually been following me, but, that, like, he got out of his car and was about to go, like, hurt this person. Also, like, that's so shitty that the police didn't do anything. Like, if they reviewed the footage, then, like, they absolutely would have seen that he was following you. And these people saw him get out of his car and come towards you. I would have been, like, crying that entire time. This person was really smart, though. They, like, hid in the bottom of their car. They tried to, like, cut him off by taking an exit at the last second. I'm so glad that they found that gas station. I don't even want to know what would have happened if this guy, like, actually caught up to this person. Ugh. I'm glad that you're okay, and I'm glad that he didn't get you, but that's a big note from me. Okay, so this last story that I'm gonna read, I'm, like, genuinely afraid to read because, so while I was looking for these stories, I got, like, halfway through this one, and I was like, no, okay, this is absolutely one that I have to read, but I was, like, scared already, like, sitting at my desk, like, doing my job. So I'm gonna, like, try and get through this without, like, actually crying. So here we go. This one is by Reddit user mad_hatter_930. And again, these will all be linked below. Here we go. Here we fucking go. This one is called, "He waited for her in the elevator with a pair of scissors in his pocket." I'm already afraid of elevators, so this is not a good start for me. I have an issue with writing novels, so bear with me. I hadn't realized I buried this memory until a weird trigger made me remember it a few months ago, and I can honestly say it was the scariest thing of my life, and I think shaped how I see the world a lot more than I realized. I'll start with what triggered the memory. I was watching the first season of The Sinner a few months ago, and this happens in the first 2 minutes and is literally the promo photo, so not a spoiler or anything, when the main character starts psychotically stabbing a guy, and I got a very perturbed pit in my stomach. The scene is extremely disturbing, and sometimes scenes just get to me, but I'm a rabid horror fan, and I'm typically unfazed by these things. Okay, like, me too. Like, I watch pretty much only horror shit, so not a lot gets to me. But then there's just, like, those scenes sometimes. Like, if y'all have ever seen the movie Tusk, don't watch it. But that one fucked me up. Also, I've never heard of this show, The Sinner, so maybe I'll have to check it out. Let me know in the comments if you've heard of it. I've never experienced such a visceral, lasting reaction to a scene on television, and it kind of freaked me out. I watched a few episodes at my friend's and felt panicky and trapped, and eventually went home because I couldn't bear the feeling I had watching it. Then, as my obsessive, only child, Enneagram Type 5 self always does, I began obsessing over finding the root of the cause of the skin-crawling feeling I couldn't shake. I finally remembered it. I don't remember the exact moment later on in the show, but something triggered the memory of what happened to my mom and I when I was a kid. This happened in 2004 when I was 11. My mom is a paralegal, and at the time worked at a family law firm. Something urgent came up, as is life in the legal world, and she had to go get case materials from her job that night, so she took me with her to go grab them. It was about 7 p.m. I should mention, I guess, that I lived in a fairly affluent, nice neighborhood where it was very safe and nothing bad really happened. My mom and I watch horror movies, so this isn't a forgot to lock the front door story, because hell no. Yes, good. I say this to give credit to my mom's insane sense of intuition that likely saved our life that night. We pulled into the parking lot, and my mom doesn't get out of the car. I'm an only child, so I was reading in the back seat and honestly didn't notice nor care, but eventually I asked her why we weren't getting out of the car. She replied that she was waiting because as we pulled in, someone walked through the parking lot and got into their car right behind us, then proceeded to wait in his car while it was on with the lights pointed at our car. It wasn't overly sketchy or creepy, as there were several non-ominous explanations, but my mom had a gut feeling, and I'm so glad she trusted her intuition and proceeded very deliberately and carefully, because it quite possibly saved our life. My mom is like that too. Hi mom, if you're watching. My mom has she just has this sixth sense, where she just knows when something sketchy is going on. She's always been like that, my whole life. And I don't know if it's ever saved our lives like it did for this person, but yeah, my mom is 100% like that, and I'm super lucky to have my mom. I love my mom! After 5 to 10 minutes, but eventually, she turned to me and was like, okay, I have no idea what this guy is doing, so let's just go grab the stuff and leave. I didn't know this at the time, because I was at this point mildly oblivious, but he got out of his car and followed us. My mom told me to hurry up because it was freezing, and we jogged to the door. Her building required a card to buzz you inside, so once we got in, we figured we'd be fine. The parking lot we were in is giant, and random people hang out there all the time, including myself frequently as a teenager, drinking Four Locos in the parking lot. Classic. And he came from seemingly nowhere, so the chances of him also having a card to buzz in were not very high. This was also something I wasn't really aware of or paying attention to at the time. But a few moments after we buzzed in, thinking we were in the clear, he came in right behind us. I asked my mom about this. I didn't learn what happened until years later. I can understand why she didn't tell me. And she said a few things ran through her mind. He could have been a total psycho who stole someone's card, which was the least likely, as it was just too fucking random. So he was either an employee or a client. They held late-night mediation sessions inside the building, so it was typical to give clients a temporary pass for convenience. I'm going to assume this practice changed after this event. My mom, knowing the ID card system, actually wondered if she was overthinking it at that point, but she just had that gut feeling and stuck to it, and truly taught me from the get-go to fuck politeness. Nice. Yeah, okay, I don't love that they would just give, like, random clients ID cards to the building. I feel like that's not the best idea, and I feel like we're gonna learn why that's not the best idea. I hadn't seen him follow us in, and my mom honestly played it so cool that I didn't even put two and two together, and just thought it was another random employee. But I remember just having a weird gut feeling that I just couldn't put my finger on, and mercifully, I just shut up and followed my mom's lead. Before he came in, my mom was frantically pressing the elevator button just in case he somehow got in, but it hadn't come yet. So he came in and waited for the elevator for us. My mom was fake polite and said hi, and then when it came, he got in and held the door open for us, waiting. My mom really fucking killed it, thinking on her feet, and pretended to get a call and kind of shooed me to the side, and told him, "Oh, I have to take this, so we'll just wait for the next one. Thank you," and ushered us away. I followed without protest, even though I saw that no one had called her. Thank you for not pointing that out. I feel like y'all would have gotten in a lot of shit, because I absolutely would have done that as a kid. I'd be like, "There's no one," and then we would have gotten killed. Cute. After getting the weird feeling and seeing her fake a call, I knew something was up. That, and he was extremely creepy standing there holding the elevator open. The second it took off, she immediately pressed the button so the next one would come down and grabbed me and said quietly, "That was the man who was waiting behind us in the car in the parking lot. He got out of his car and followed us inside. I was not letting us get in an elevator with him. When the elevator comes, we're going to run to my office and wait a few minutes, then take the stairwell out." Alright, mom knows what's up. At this point, I'm freaking the fuck out, but stayed calm and quiet and followed her lead. She saw that his elevator went to the 3rd floor. She was on the 2nd floor, so we wouldn't run into him. Even if he somehow discovered we went to the 2nd floor on a different elevator, her office was right next to it, and he wouldn't have ever caught up to us. We ran into her office and locked the door and waited about 5 to 10 minutes while she held her ear to the door to make sure she didn't hear anything. As I'm writing this, I'm almost laughing like a lunatic because at this point we sound like paranoid freaks, as really nothing had happened, but I'm so glad we watch way too many horror movies. Okay, I know I said this earlier, but like, be paranoid. Like, fucking be paranoid, because I would rather you guys look stupid and be safe than, you know, be stupid for real and get hurt. So this person, your mom, is fantastic. We then unlocked the door and quickly looked out, then ran to the stairwell and ran the fuck out of her office, got in the car and drove home. That was the end of the story for me at the time. I asked my mom when I was a teenager if she remembered that weird time at her office when we hid in her office and ran away from a guy in the elevator, and her face turned white. She told me what transpired while we were waiting in her office and ran out the soundproof stairwell. The man in the elevator was there for a custody mediation session with his estranged ex-wife. This part's where I stopped reading, so we're on the same page now, and I'm terrified. He was against the divorce and was desperately trying to stop his wife from divorcing him. The custody session took place before my mom and I got there. He had refused to sign papers that would have awarded him less than 50% of their children living with them. He apparently got so angry that he got up and walked out halfway through the session. His wife decided to remain in the office for about 25 minutes after he left because she was freaked out. You know when your wife is scared of you that you've got some shit going on. During this time, he went back to his car and sat inside it and sobbed. This was when my mom and I had pulled into the office building. He eventually grabbed a pair of kitchen scissors he had in the glove box and got out and went back into the building, which is when he followed my mom and I inside. I'm not sure if us getting out of the car kind of snapped him out of it and gave him the push, if you will, to go back inside. Why does he have scissors in his glove compartment? No. Absolutely not. First of all, why? Second of all, I don't like where this is going. I don't like where this is going at all. He came back inside at the same time as us and got in the elevator, which he invited us inside with him. Based on the evidence from the trial involving a gray sweatshirt, I'll put the links below. Prosecutors put together that he went to the 3rd floor and lurked around waiting for his wife. I just got chills. He got back in the elevator and waited until his wife went to leave and get in the elevator. He proceeded to ambush her and stabbed her 106 times with a pair of scissors in his pocket. He murdered his wife in the most gruesome fashion. Holy shit. Okay, I'm like actually, like, I'm so scared right now. That 106 times in an elevator. I like actually might like stop filming this for a second because I'm like, phew, okay, we're almost done. Only a few paragraphs left. Okay, I'm gonna get through this the best that I can. The details of the case are horrifying. The links are below, but fair warning on the graphic details. What chills me to my core is wondering what would have happened if we got in the elevator. It was clear he had an agenda and a direct target. It's highly possible he would have left us alone and went along with his plan. But the last detail is that while he was waiting in his car, he was snorting methamphetamines and was high as a fucking kite. The mediator was the key witness in the trial, and her testimony is horrifying. Her husband also worked in the building, and she was walking to his office when she heard screaming. When she got closer to the elevator, she heard the wife yelling her name. She yelled out, "It's him!" She found the husband dragging his wife inside the elevator with blood everywhere, all over the walls. Then, in front of the mediator, he continued to plunge the scissors into his wife. When the police got there, they found him holding his wife, who was dead, choking her with his arm around her neck. This all took place while we were still in the building. We didn't hear it because we were in the cement stairwell and ran directly outside. This guy's fucked. This is why I don't do drugs. Stay away from drugs. Everybody, be straight edge. It's better, I promise. All of the above is to say that he clearly went absolutely psychotic and lost his absolute mind. You think so? Someone who stabs their wife over 100 times with a pair of goddamn poultry scissors is clearly fucking insane, but him rapidly continuing to murder her in front of the mediator and choking a dead body when the police arrived is a horrifying level of insane. That, and he was high on methamphetamines. There's nothing to say that we wouldn't have set him off in the most random way, or that he had already entered his psychotic break, or that he wouldn't have wanted to get us out of the way. Okay, genuinely, if you had gotten into that elevator with him, I really do think that you would not be telling this tale. This guy's clearly out of his goddamn mind. My mom's actions likely saved our lives that night. She had a gut feeling and trusted her intuition. I read stories on here every day and sympathize heavily with them, of people, particularly women, who are conditioned to be polite and end up in danger as a result. My mom knew the fake call might have seemed like bullshit, but she did not give a fuck and was absolutely not getting in the elevator with him. She's not only my hero, but my best teacher. I learned that night to be hypervigilant, pay attention to every little detail of my surroundings, and fuck politeness and never dismiss my gut. I will never forget the slightly too wide, toothy smile that didn't seem to reach his eyes while he stood 5 feet away from my mom and I holding open the elevator. Now that I have had this memory resurface, I think about it all the time of what had happened if we got in the elevator. Rest in peace to the woman who was murdered. I think about her and her family often. We already met, but thankfully we'll never meet again. Enjoy life in prison. My heart is like actually pounding. I'm actually like so on edge from reading that. I don't like elevators in general. I don't like getting in elevators with people. This is like, I'm like trying to formulate my thoughts into like coherent sentences over that. That was like genuinely hard to get out. I really thought I was gonna have to like stop and take a break and like go watch Good Mythical Morning or something to cheer myself up. That's the scariest thing I think I've ever heard. That part of the end that was like the toothy smile that didn't reach his eyes, I like got such a clear image in my head and I can't get it out. That poor woman. I mean, I don't know why I like didn't read any of like the case or whatever, so I don't know why she was divorcing him, but like I assume because he was fucking crazy. I don't want scissors in my home now. I like what she said at the end though, because like oftentimes women are like so conditioned to be like nice and polite, and it always gets us into shitty situations. And I've had it happen to me. I'm sure every like girl watching this, you've had it happen to you at least once. And that like sucks. Fuck politeness. If you don't feel safe, you do not have to be nice to people. And if you are, then they'll just stab you 106 times with a pair of scissors in an elevator. Okay, so here's what I learned tonight. I'm really glad that I didn't stay a pizza delivery driver. Driving at night is a terrible idea. Never do it. Don't get in elevators ever. I really hope that this was like an interesting video to watch, or like that it was at least a little bit fun. This has been like a different thing for me, so let me know if you enjoyed it, or if you wanted me to do more like just like sit and talk videos, I guess. I don't know if I had a good time filming this, to be honest. That last one in particular like really fucking scared me, and I live alone in my apartment, and I'm just like, ooh, I'm like gonna have to stay up and like watch happy shit before I go to sleep tonight. I think I do want to do more of these though, because I did have a good time looking through the stories, picking the ones that I wanted to tell, and maybe I'll just keep up with the Let's Not Meet Reddit and see if there's any more spooky ones that I want to tell. Maybe I'll do some no sleep stories. I'm gonna go make myself some hot chocolate and try and calm down, because like my heart is still racing. If you want to keep up with my life, I'm gonna go back to posting on Instagram. It is at warped.laur, because I'm an emo bitch. You can follow my music Instagram account at laur.b.music, because I do the singings. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please be sure to give it a big thumbs up, as that would be nice of you. And just give me like suggestions for what to do with this channel, because I don't really know, to be super honest. I'm really bad at doing YouTube, but I'm hopefully gonna get better. Other than that, I guess I'm gonna go try and be less terrified, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.